too early for him to start, and any chance of Dwight McNeil being involved?
Look, they're both back in training. Ellie's been back in training. Obviously, we got him some minutes the other day there. Yeah, look, he's getting closer. It's just that he's probably lacking real match fitness. But look, he's back in the frame, and we're considering him. Dwight's back in training, been back in. He's probably had about 3 or 4 days now on the grass. So, we'll get closer. If we can get him involved, we will do.
Obviously, the club has released a statement today about James Tarkowski and his family receiving online abuse after the Merseyside derby.
Yeah.
I just wonder how James and his family are, and what support the club's been able to give.
Well, I think the club have issued a statement, and look, it's not acceptable for MD in any walk of life. But look, we have to hold our hand up and say, after looking at it again, I believe that it could have been a sending off, but I don't think that means that you get abused online because of that. So it's part of football, and he made which looked at the time, I thought, a really good tackle, but in looking at it again, I think it was a bit reckless.
The other big moment was obviously the goal that decided things. Is it the offside law interpretation, or the way the law's worded ultimately?
Well, you can always hide behind words, can't you? I think ultimately, MD, who really followed football over the period of their lifetime, would have seen that as offside. So it's an easy thing for them to come out and now say, hey, there's a rule. I think the big thing is it says that they have to be in his vision at times. Well, I don't know who's deciding that Tarky hasn't seen him. I mean, nearly all the clips you see shows that he's offside. So I find it really incredible. And it's interesting that we're just about to go into the new semi-automated. It would have been interesting to see what they were going to do on the decision, because it looked as if he's offside. If the pass wasn't aimed or going to him, I could maybe understand that he was, we're seeing it all the time. We're seeing people blocking from behind, free kicks getting given. People are not talking about in visionary line. I feel as if they've had to justify the decision now by words.
When I was growing up, it was always interfering with play, and Tarky's clearly scanned and knows
he has, there. Yeah, he hasn't. And look, we said it looks offside. Look, it's now gone, so we can ask all the questions. It's gone now, and we've moved on as well from it. So, but you've asked me the question, and I've tried to give you my thoughts on it.
How does it feel for you now, though, with just 4 games to go at Goodison Park?
Well, it feels as if we're getting to the end of probably a long season. I've had a short season because I'm only in a few months. But I think for everybody else who've followed Everton, it's getting to a stage now where there's not many more days you're going to be at Goodison. So people who've followed the club for a long time will be pretty sad. I think that it's going, but I think also really excited about the opportunity to move to a new stadium.
When it's teams like Arsenal, Man City next at Goodison after that as well, it feels like they're the kind of occasions that really can bring the best out of Goodison as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it brings the best out of the team more than anything. I hope the crowd bring the best out of the team, because they play such a part in us getting results, not just now, but over decades they've done that. So let's hope that the crowd get right behind the team and help us in those games.
What good memories does it bring back for you with Mikel Arteta in the opposition this weekend?
Look, I'm thrilled for Mikel, because he was one of our ex-players, and I think any manager's always quite pleased when they see their players go on to have careers in management or coaching. I've had a lot in my time now going into the job, so I think Mikel's done unbelievably well. I think he's probably worked under arguably the best manager in the world since Sir Alex and Pep, which has given him a great chance to see other things as well. Culturally, he was always from Spain, which would always give him a slightly different feel than here, but most of his football's been played in the UK. So he's got a really good balance of seeing what's required in the UK and from the Spanish side as well.
Did you see a coach in him when you had him here?
It's always difficult. Yeah, it's always difficult. People ask that question quite often to me. Who do you see as being future coaches? I think Mikel always was quite. He had his own thoughts about it, and he was good. He was a good leader as well, Mikel, at the time as well, and became captain here for a long period as well. So maybe looking back, I'd say, yeah, I do see that but at the time, I don't think you ever really think, what one's necessarily going to go on to be a manager.
Has he changed that?
Has he changed? No, I think he was always a bit grumpy as well as a player, and you've seen that in his management as well. But I think that overall, he was a competitive player. He was a really good player as well. He done a great job for us here at Everton.
Grumpy, are you expecting a few words on the touchline, man?
Well, you've seen him in action, so it's not just me.
Be a wine after?
I'll always invite Mikel in, ex-player, and if he wants to come in for a drink, he'll always be welcome.
Thanks, Vinny. We'll go to Simon at Premier League Productions.
Simon?
Hi. You talk about Pep and his influence. Mikel talks about the influence that you had on him as well in his career. Do you ever see, maybe the grumpiness, I don't know, but do you ever see any of your influence on him?
Maybe those antics in the touchline. When I think back to the early days, maybe that's what it was. That's a bit he's taken. Look, I think that to be a manager in the Premier League, I think you have to be able to deal with so many different situations, different teams and, going to different stadiums and teams playing different ways. I think it's, I don't think there's ever been really any easy games in the Premier League in my time. And Mikel will have understood that from a player, and he'll have taken it into being a manager as well. But he hasn't half grown as a manager, and he's getting to a stage now, he's getting into a group of managers who are, challenging for trophies. He's obviously got a huge semi-final, quarter-final coming up, I should say, against Real Madrid. So it's the sort of thing that you want when you're a young coach. You're hoping that you can keep progressing, climbing the ladder, and getting much closer to success.
Someone else that we know as well in the terms of Declan Rice, will be there on Saturday as well in terms of.
Hope he's not.
Yeah. Can you envision? I mean, people are talking about him now. Is he performing?
Well, I used to get criticised when I said that he should be 150 million, and I always when I see Arsenal supporters, I tell them that they still owe me 50 million because we only got 100 for him. I think that he's proving exactly what we thought he was. He's going to become top player. He was an unbelievable example to young players at West Ham because of his stature, how he went on, how he conducted himself. You think of a player coming out of contract nowadays, he was coming out of contract, they're not coming out, but he was planning to leave at West Ham, and he was applauded. He was everywhere he went because of his actions. He dealt incredibly well with it. And I've said I think he'll eventually be an England captain, and I think everybody would probably agree he's going in that direction.
Thank you. Thanks, Simon. We'll go to Shimon at the BBC.
Hi, David.
Hi there.
Unbeaten in 9, turning to winless in 5. Does it show how quickly the narrative can change it?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, and look, I don't think we're actually looking at that. I think what we were looking at it is the points total. To be honest, getting the points to make sure we were a Premier League club was always the most important thing. So whether it came in a bunch of games where we win and a bunch that we drew, it doesn't really matter, but we're having to get the points total. We've got a good points total. It's not mathematically safe yet, but we believe it'll be a tall order for a lot of the teams to get to the level we're at the moment.
As you mentioned, 14 clear with 8 games to play. Do you think there's a danger that the season might peter away, for example?
There's a danger, but I'm going to do everything I possibly can to try and not make that happen. I think when I first came into Everton years ago, I used to think Everton got safe round about Easter time and then didn't perform, so I was always banging in the door that we changed that I wasn't accepting it. And let's be fair, I think if you look at it, the history after that showed that we went on to try, and if we were closer to finishing near the top end of the league than the bottom. So I think there's a lot to play for us, for the players. A lot of players out of contract. We've not done particularly well in the first half of the season, so I don't think we're in a position just to say that we're going to play well for half a dozen games and then that's okay. So keeping the players' focus right and them keeping their mentality good, which they've shown, to be fair.
And just secondly, I wonder if you saw Ange Postecoglou's comments last night on Bar, where he said he was killing respect for the game, a lot of standing around. We don't know what the goals get. What do you make of that? I
think Ange is a really good coach and a really good manager. And I think that his points are pretty clear. I don't think MD, you people as well, as we all don't want to stand around on tight decisions. I think offside, I did used to believe that was the way that was the one thing they got right. But after what happened the other night against us, I'm not sure that they do. And I actually wondered why I think even on the Beto goal the other night, I don't think the lines were painted at any time on Beto's runs through. They never put the lines up. VAR never challenged the lines, never looked at it to see what his position. And hey, they may prove to be right there, but if that was an absolute clear and obvious one where the referee could put it up, I can't understand why, there wasn't a flagging up for the other one, and it would be challenged as well. Don't know if I went off course there a little bit. Sorry.
Thanks, Shimon. We'll go to Carl at the Press Association.
Hi, David.
Hi, Carol.
Okay. Just to go back to the Tarkowski issue briefly. Social media is something that massively changed the game for players, certainly in your time as management. I just wonder if you've ever had cause to speak to players or advise players about their activity on social media, what they get on social media, or whether you would consider doing it this time.
No, I don't see. I think I get enough criticism off these press boys over here on the right without going anywhere else. So I don't feel as if I need to do social media, and I'm not really got a great interest in it. I think life for the younger ones is certainly part of that. I've got family who do social media, I'm sure. So, but I don't think that means that it's right. And I think that every one of you, whoever's in here, should be absolutely condemning anything of that sort of stuff. So they have education. We have people who come in, they talk about it every year. There'll be people come in either from the Players Association or from the League Managers Association will come in and explain, or the Premier League, I should say, and explain, what can happen. So they're well educated in it. I just think that probably people are wrong if they're sort of coming back the way they have done.
From the limited experience of what you've seen being in and around dressing rooms, are the players because of that education, are they well equipped to deal with this sort of stuff? Do you find that they sort of are easily able to sort of switch it up? Well,
it might be a subject that I'm not an expert on here because I don't do it, so I don't really know. But the answer is I do know that the clubs I've been at, they're pretty well educated through the Premier League, through the league, the Players Association. So they should know whether they should do it or not. It's their choice to do that.
Thank you.
Any further questions in the open section?
Hi, David. I just wonder, with opponents coming up in obviously the recent Merseyside derby, but the likes of Arsenal and the likes of City and Nottingham Forest and Chelsea, do you feel like you're going to get a more accurate gauge of where your squad is at when you face these opponents?
I'm looking forward to finding out where we're at. I don't know if accurate means that, beating Brighton or beating Tottenham, if you're saying that, well, those ones don't really matter. The truth is they were great results in their big teams themselves. But I think the point is the names you're mentioning are teams who, over recent years and at the present time, are doing really well. So, big test for us. I thought we put up a good show the other night. We've ran Liverpool close recently, so we've got to try and do something similar against the teams we're coming up against.
And after scoring 5 in 4 games, Beto's now gone 4 without a goal, but he's had chances, including a few one-on-ones. I just wonder, how much does that concern you? And are the likes of Broja and Chimiti knocking at the door for a starting place?
Yeah, they're knocking at the door. I think it's great news that we're talking about us getting chances to score. And probably us gaining our points was mainly because of Beto taking those chances. And if you look back at the games and the goals you've talked about, I think that it was a little bit unlucky the other night. Hits the post, I think he has. You're right. He's had 1-on-1s. I think he certainly had 3 at Brentford, I think.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at the points we've taken, it's quite often been because Beto's goals. So if you look at the points and his goals in the run maybe a month or so ago, was a lot to do with his goals. So we've just missed that bit. the truth is there's not been an awful lot of difference in how we've done. We've just maybe missed that last bit. But yeah, certainly Broja and Chimiti are getting certainly closer to match fitness than they've been.
And I just wanted your thoughts on Charly Alcaraz as well, how he's done so far, and where do you think his best work is done, given he spent time out wide and playing through the middle for you?
Well, we've tried to find a way of getting him in the side with Doucouré as well, because we think that the work that Doucouré does is very good, especially off the ball. He's also come up with a couple of goals. Charlie, we've got on loan. We've got a chance to have a look at him. We'll see what he can do. I agree. I think he'd probably be better, more central than where he is at the moment. But again, trying to fit them in the team and get them in and get the best players available for us is something we've tried to do. But I've been quite pleased with him. Done a lot of good things. Still got other things we'd like him to do better.
Thank you.
Just go to Will finally.
I will.
Hi, Dave. Just check on Jesper Lindstrøm. What's the...
No, Jesper's not available. He's going to get checked with a specialist. He's got a groin problem. We're half looking to see if it could be a hernia. That's why we're just checking it to see if it's anything like that. So he's not available, no.
In terms of Iliman Ndiaye, how much do you think you have missed him over the past 2 months? And going forwards, a lot of supporters maybe would like to see him in that number 10 role. Do you think that's a role he's capable of playing in?
Yeah, I think he can certainly. I think it's something which, if we can get the opportunity to see him, we'll try and get him there at some time between now and the end of the season to see if we can get him in that position. We've needed him in other positions, and we've got other people who maybe can do jobs in different ways, maybe more off the ball than on the ball. But I think that Ellie, we've had actually good results without Ellie. So you need to, you mustn't forget that we've had some pretty good results. When we lost him in the first Liverpool game, I was thinking, my goodness, we've lost our sort of main attacking threat, really. But let's be fair, other people had stepped up to the mark as well and got a few goals. But glad to have him back. And you're right, I think we'll try and find at times the opportunity to probably get him more central.
Just Armando Broja, it's obviously a player who else has a really frustrating season, coming in injured and having an ankle injury again. I suppose he's a player, though, you are aware of the time in the Premier League. So what qualities can he bring to the team?
Well, I think he's got some really good qualities. He's got ability. He's got at times he can hold onto the ball. He can stay on the ball and give us opportunities. He's got some speed about him as well. I think we need to try and get him an opportunity to see what he can do. But, ultimately you can only pick 11 in the Saturday, and you have to pick whatever ones you think are going to get you the best result.
Thanks, Will.